If you should so happen to know me on a personal level, that you know that I'm a stranger to cheap things. But this week, I got a chance to know the 2025 Nissan Versa. This is one of the cheapest. This is the cheapest that you can buy in the United States. The base price starts at $17,195. Sadly, these cars used to be like $10K, but now with inflation, everything has gotten more expensive. So I'm going to give you an engineer's thoughts on the 2025 Nissan Versa SR. And when I say cheap, don't take that as a bad thing. I mean cheap in terms of price. Transaction prices, that $17,195, that's before shipping and handling. So this is going to be a fully loaded trim, the SR trim, which is a little bit sporty looking. Is not any performance added to it. We got like the black mirror caps blacked out in the grill. So this is going to come up to $22,755. So that's going to bump it up just a little bit, but you do get a lot with that. And on the base trim, you can get a 5-speed manual transmission. That's not going to be available on the SV or the S or the SR trim. So you got to step down to the base model. Wondering what that's going to be looking like. Up under the hood, we're going to have a 1.6 liter naturally aspirated inline four cranking out a whopping 122 horsepower with 114 pound-feet of torque. That's something you don't see in these days and ages. Low horsepower, we don't see that at all. This Versa is going to be front-wheel drive. The transmission, CVT. The weight is about 2,700 pounds, which is a featherweight in today's age with all this technology we got going on. The miles per gallon, 32 in the city, 40 on the highway. Me, which has been it's been a good mix, mostly city driving. I've been averaging 31.5 miles per gallon. And for those of you who like to track your gas mileage, we got a 10.8 gallon tank on here. So you're not going to be having to go to the gas station every other day. It'll last you about a couple weeks. I've driven like 240 miles and I still have a little bit less than a half tank, which is excellent. Taking a stroll around the Versa. It's going to be painted in Arctic Ice Blue Metallic, which is a fitting color as today is about 20 degrees out here right now. Got frostbite on my hands, so applaud me for that. But the main competitors to this car would be like a Kia K4. So the Versa is a size smaller than the Sentra, and the Sentra is a size smaller than the Altima. And to put that in Honda and Toyota terms, this would be about a Honda Fit or a Toyota Yaris size vehicle. They're smaller than the Civic, but in my opinion, it's much bigger than what it seems, much bigger. So in today's video, you're gonna get an engineer's perspective on the good and the bad. Some things I find neutral about the 2025 Versa. So let me show you how practical or not practical it is. Let's start in the trunk, work our way up to the front. The trunk is actually very large. Got my backpack all in the middle of it, but this is a large trunk for the subcompact class. Huge, actually. The back seat, I was pleasantly surprised that I could fit back here, but this car, dimensionally, it is not wide. I got leg room to fit back here, but it's kind of tight. Knocked my hat off trying to get back here, but this car is adequate. Sitting behind myself, I'm 6 feet. My knees just barely touch the seat in front of me, but these are cloth, so got some padding. But I would politely ask the driver, like, hey, slide that up a little bit. The headroom back here, my hat is like a finger width from touching the ceiling, so it's not a lot of headroom. If you're taller than 6 feet, you might want to go to the front seat. Have somebody that calls shotgun, like, hey man, can I get an exception to that rule? So now let's focus on what I deem bad up in the Versa. These A-pillars, they are on the thick side, so it's going to impede on your forward vision. Those are some thick pillars. It's just kind of rough. This steering wheel, while it looks very nice, we even got some orange stitching going on down here. It feels like 120 grit sandpaper. It's a little bit rough. While we do have a wireless charger right down yonder, you see this USB cable. That's something I don't do. Why don't I do that? Because I am accustomed to wireless Apple CarPlay. You see it says wireless or it says Apple CarPlay on the screen. It's not activated because I haven't hooked up my phone. Another bad thing that happened in my week of driving the Versa, I had an issue. It wouldn't connect to CarPlay, or I had to ride around with Bluetooth, and I tried shutting my phone off, turning it back on, still didn't do anything. I shut the car off and shut it back on. I still couldn't connect. So when I shut the car off, I only turned it off for about maybe 1 minute, but I wasn't able to connect until I let the car sit for a while. I came to the car much later to go somewhere, and then it finally worked. It's the only time I saw it happen, but that was a hiccup in the infotainment system. And this infotainment screen is a little bit slow, like the graphics aren't the best, but it gets the job done. More than adequate for what it does, which is go straight to CarPlay. That's all I do in these. Moving on to what I found neutral. These seats are 100% manual, so we can raise and lower it, recline it, and to slide it back and forth. Now, I'm not saying this is good or bad, but it's just an observation. This sun visor, I have never seen a sun visor this large in any car, and especially this being a small car. It's bigger than my hand, so if you were actually sitting here with the sun visor going straight down, 270-degree angle, you cannot see anything in front of you. I can see a sliver out the front window about this big, but you can always just slide it forward just a little bit more. But this is the huge sun visor, so I bet if they cut this in half, we can save even more money, make this the cheapest by a landslide. And another competitor to this car, while I'm thinking about it, is the Mitsubishi Mirage, which starts a few $100s higher. One last observation, again, not saying if it's good or bad, just an observation. While you're driving the car, or after a drive, with your seatbelt on, don't be driving without your seatbelt. After those doors lock, let's say you're pulling into your destination, put it in park, and you want to just open the door to get out. Normally, a car would just break through the door being locked and just unlock it for you. But this car, you have to manually press the lock or this lock and unlock button here, which is powered. But to get out the car without just being able to pull this button, that is nasty work right there. Moving on to the good, we have these seats. Very comfortable. It's got a decent amount of support. This isn't a sports car, even though it's a sports trim. Got the nice orange in there. The graphics, the design looks amazing. And the seat bottom is comfortable and cushy. This cluster has an analog gauge on the right, but the left side is fully digital. And we get a lot of options on there. So we can do many, many things. And if you've seen any other videos on any of the Nissan Infiniti products that I have done, I really enjoy how their infotainment system or their cluster is. You can go through many menus, you can do settings in here, and it's all through the buttons on the steering wheel. Makes it easy to change some of the functionality of the vehicle in the cluster without having to put your eye on the infotainment system. It is slick how they do that, and the graphics on here is pretty good. We can install HomeLink. I had a $60,000 Integra Type S from Acura. There wasn't even an option on there to get HomeLink, but this, like a $300-400 option on the cheapest car for sale in North America. And last but not least, the stereo system in here is great, especially for a car of this price point. Normally the up-level audio sounds like I'm listening to music through a styrofoam cup with a string on it, but this sounds really good. I haven't got a chance to test it with the windows down. It's 20 degrees outside. And I told y'all it's too cold for me to be out here with the windows down. I told you, the temperature outside matches the paint color, the Arctic ice blue. Why would I have my windows down? I would do it for y'all, and I really like y'all a lot, but it's just too cold. I'm still dealing with some frostbite right now being outside with no gloves on, but I'm doing this for you. That's all I got to say about the good, the bad, the neutral. Now it's time to put it in. Well, it would have been cool to say put it in neutral and drive, but that don't get you nowhere. So we're going to go from neutral and go for a quick drive. Bam, fixed it. Let us spin a few blocks in the 2025 Nissan Versa. Just for the one time. I like that it shows you who would be buckled up. Had I had rear passengers, had my kids in here all week, we were able to fit comfortably with just the three of us. Just looking through the camera lens, you can see how narrow this car is. Normally you can't see the left and the right side or both A-pillars in the frame. This car is narrow. It's going to be a little bit tight up in the driver's seat too. You can't just go full on Al Bundy, like I'm a little bit restricted with my spread eagle. Let's test out the turning radius, because you got to know if you can maneuver this car when you're out here driving. What the heck? Okay, maybe I didn't hit that turn in the right spot. Let me do that again. This car just might have a terrible turning radius. As small as it is, I just knew this was gonna pass with flying colors. right, let me get all the way over. And now, fully turn the wheel. Yeah, the turning radius on this car is bad. This is probably the worst somehow. So when you coming up in the mall in them tight parking spaces, might be a little bit of a challenge if you don't know what you're doing. Now I'm about to hit up the Moon simulator, see how smooth it soaks up the bumps. This Versa is surprisingly smooth. Not all that loud in here either. And surprisingly, we have steering feel in here. People have been ragging about Nissan lately, talking about they're going for bankruptcy within the next 14 months. But their new products, they are very good, and I want to say that they're class leading in many ways. The Sentra was excellent. I think this Versa is excellent, especially from a value perspective. You really can't touch this value. It's got all of the stuff you would want in the car. We got heated seats, no heated steering wheel. You pay $22,000 for a fully loaded car. What you expect? But it does a lot of things right for the everyday driver. Some things I'm noticing as I'm driving spread eagle, my knees resting up on this right there and right here. Very hard plastic. So with this being the CVT, you're not going to notice many shifts. But a lot of people talk bad about the CVTs. I found out that it does simulate a traditional automatic transmission. Like I don't know that I'm driving the CVT, but a lot of other people say they hate the CVT. Like for a daily commuter car, if you're not an enthusiast, if this is your A to B transportation, this is totally fine. Even if you are an enthusiast, if you bought an automatic, like what do you expect? It simulates an automatic quite well. But what's that 122 horsepower about? I'm about to show y'all, because I told you it was a featherweight. And is that a Sentra right there or an Altima? I can't ever really tell them apart. But let us put it in sport mode. It's a little line on the back of the shifter from a standstill. Hopefully I don't break my neck with how fast this is, to the floor. Man, that did nothing. So I told you this had 122 horsepower. I swear you all act like I said it was 1,022 horsepower. But on to the highway we go. And let me keep my RPMs low. First, I didn't think there was an RPM meter up on here, but I was just in the wrong screen. Merging, you might want to be extra thoughtful at doing that. It's like I said, it's not that powerful, so you're not going to be the one. You want to make sure you got enough space to do any last second maneuvers. It does have adaptive cruise control, where it will allow a following distance between you and the car in front of you. Riding on the highway, it's a little bit quiet. You tell for yourself. We're on pristine highway right now. Not a whole lot of road noise. I hear this Escape coming up on the side of me though. Get your muffler fixed, homie. Visibility in here, it's going to be excellent. Stylistically, the windows are large, so you're going to be able to see everything. So now, about to exit the highway. Let's see what the brake and handling is like. We knew the acceleration was on the bad side. Brake's got a nice progressive feel to it. I'm actually very impressed with how it handles. I like driving this car. I'll take one of these with the 5-speed manual. Why they going off the road? This is why I do my videos early. It was so cold, I had to wait for the sun to come out. Get on over, man, because I got to accelerate. Definitely take these curves. It's a pleasure to drive. Surprised to say. I'm surprised myself that I even said that. Brakes feel good. Nissan did the thug dizzle with this Versa. Oh yeah, this is a very nice package. I gotta give it one of my highest recommendations out there. Because Nissan, they focus on what the buyer would want. Definitely a cheap price. And in today's market, this is the third time I said that at least, cars are just very expensive. If you want a Civic, that's like 30 grand, and that's not even a fully loaded one. So cars are expensive these days. So Nissan thought about the consumer, the end user, and it's a shame that they're going through bankruptcy, and there's talks of them actually merging with Honda, so that could be beneficial to them. But I just hope they get their finances in order to where they don't have to have a merger, because their new product, their fresh product, is top notch to me. I like it a lot. Sentra, I drove a QX80, and this Versa, the Nissan Z, that's honestly the one that surprised me the least, because that one's older in the tooth, but what they did with that car is pretty good. But this Versa, if you're looking for cheap transportation where you don't need all this extra gimmicky features that they want to call it in these cars that nobody uses anyways, this is an honest vehicle that it will last you as long as you maintain one of these things. Reliability, that's a question mark for every automaker out there. We got Toyota building terrible trucks right now. Who would have thought that? But hopefully these last the test of time. And yeah, I'm interested to see what that 5-speed manual will be like. But if you've driven one of these, if you own one, I would love to hear your thoughts on it. If you got a family member or friend with one of these, let me know what you thought about it, because I am impressed. At $23,000, this is a fantastic deal. So before this, I thought the Chevy Trax was the best value on the market at 20. You can get a fully loaded one of those for about 29, 30K. This is 22, and it's not, well, that Trax is pretty big on the inside. But for this car, this is as big as a Corolla on the inside. It might be bigger than the Corolla on the inside. So that's shocking to me at much less. And don't even ignore the sticker price. And I want to give you all this secret. Go to a Toyota dealership or a Honda dealership and try and haggle the price, and let me know how that worked for you. And then go to a Nissan dealership and try and haggle. Thank me later. Do that. So they're willing to wheel and deal on their product. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. The cheapest car that they sell in North America is also a compelling package, and it drives nicely as well. It's got a steering feel. Shock. So that's all I got to say about that, folks. You all remember to drive safe, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace out.